Hello guys, and welcome back to ILG LCL. This is going to be the match between Oblique Gaming, sponsored by Cooler Master, and Rune Faust Gaming. So, as most people in the Indian community know, Oblique Gaming is the hot favorites of this tournament because everybody knows all of their players, and they have a really top-notch reputation for winning their games, and have been staying at the top for a very long time. Rune Faust Gaming, not much can be said because they are fairly new, and I have not particularly seen them casted their tournaments or even spectated them yet. So I may have little knowledge, but that's not to say that that's not to say that they haven't been a team for very long. They have been a team for quite a while, I hear. So, anyway, besides all that, let's just go into the picks and bans. We do see Oblique Gaming banning Yasuo, Kassadin, and Thresh, and Rune Faust banning only 2 people? Huh, I didn't quite notice that. And, well, I don't really know why they only banned 2. It seems to be a Lucian and a Zed. And I'm not quite sure who ANR is. Just 1 second. Let me just try and figure out who ANR is. In the meantime, I'll just talk about the players in OG. The first pick, Morgana, is OGCM Frost. Just 1 second. Yeah, anyway. So the first pick is going to be OGCM Frost, who is very well known for his support. He's actually a Diamond 2 high elo player, and he's actually very well respected around the community as well, because he has managed to completely dominate most teams that he's come across with his shot calling and with his general support plays. So expect to see some top-notch Morgana plays from him, and it's gonna look beautiful as he's doing, let me tell you. And on second pick, we do have their jungler, Zarkus, going Jarvan, the 4th this game. He's another person who has been in the scene for a very long time, and is actually an extremely well-rounded jungler, because though he is a little infamous as he is famous, he's still a really good jungler in his own right, and is very well known and is very famous, and people like him. People just like him. Seriously, he's a really good guy. I know. Best out of them all. Anyway, and their third pick, Jinx, is ANR, who's actually OGCM Brutality, I just gathered. And Brutality, of course, being India's first and only first challenger for now, soon later followed on by OGCM Mechanics, who is Niket Kumar. So, and he has pretty much lived and breathed ADC throughout his climb, from, I think, silver all the way up to challenger. So right now he is playing Jinx, and well, his play is always a treat to watch, and it's always been widely celebrated that the Brutality Frost lane is pretty much the best bot lane in the country, in the whole of India. And we're yet to see it rivaled by any other good bot lane for now. So we're pretty much seeing two top-notch bot laners who are practically unbeaten up till now, and we're yet to see who would probably break them. On the top lane with the Renekton, we have Icon, another player who has been playing the game for a very long time. And he too, like most of the others, has lived and breathed top lane. So each of them are playing roles that they have been long practiced and are highly experienced with, and are not just picking it up out of the blue. All 4 of them, except for the last pick, who is Distinct. Distinct started off as a jungler, and he was very widely regarded throughout the community for his Evelyn jungler. And soon enough, later on, he slowly started spreading out once he hit Diamond 5. Picking up a variety of top laners, picking up a variety of mid laners, and right now, off late, in most tournaments for OG, he's actually been trying out other roles. And this time around, he is playing mid lane as Lissandra. And well, expect to see some insane plays and insane calls and rotations from OG, I guess. On to the other side, we do see Steam_GG from Rune Faust Gaming on that Warwick. I believe that is a comfort pick of his. Or no, not really. Never mind. Now that I look at it again, his most played rank is Lee Sin. And while it hasn't been banned against him, he opts to go for Warwick. I guess it's a slightly safer option because given Lee Sin's risk factor and given Lee Sin's way of play, it may not entirely be a bad decision not to go home or anything. But going for a Warwick, it's fairly safe. You're always expecting to hit level 6 to have short attempts at gank opportunities and whatnot. And on the second pick, going for that Janna is going to be Miar, who is actually, I believe, just gone into support. Not really. He has been practicing support of late, but he did not particularly start off as one. So people who I wouldn't say new to support, who have begun practicing and are picking up other roles. So you have a multiple people that are going like this, and we do see a top lane Maokai going against that Renekton, and that is, well, it can go many ways because on one end you have the manaless Renekton and whatnot, and then the other end you have the Maokai who's always there in the top lane, and he has always been a viable pick because it boils down to a lot of things. He has sustain, he has a lot of harass through his saplings, and multiple things that have always been preached from time to time as Season 4 went, and it's pretty much picking on from here as well. And in the bot lane, on the AD carry, we have Gaja on Vayne, and in the mid lane, we have the Orianna. Now, I'm not sure how many of you may have known me from during my Logitech days, but I was a huge fan of Orianna, and I actually absolutely main her. So I actually got a little excited at the Orianna pick because she's pretty much the one champ that I love most in this world. So apologies if I seem to overhype the Orianna too much, because I just love watching Oriannas and seeing what they do and what they've decided to do at mid lane in general. So in the top lane, we see the Renekton going against the Maokai. In the jungle, we see Jarvan the Fourth going against Warwick. In the mid lane, we see the Lissandra going against the Orianna. And at the bot lane, we have the Jinx and Morgana going against the Vayne and Janna. So to my knowledge, I could pretty much give you a slight overview of how we expect to see this lane. Obviously, the end result is never really what we predict because Team Rank does that all the time, because they'll always shift around. They'll always try to go for different strategies and completely break away from standard laning. It's a whole different ball game to people compared to people who've played like solo queue or something. So the top lane in a Renekton versus Maokai, on paper, you'd probably go around saying Renekton can probably out-sustain because he doesn't run on anything. But that's hard to say, given the way Maokai can kind of work around the lane and properly manage his mana, and given his innate sustain through his passive, which is Sap Magic, which can actually heal him. You can't really say whether the Renekton fully can out-sustain the Maokai. In the end, champion playstyles also matter. And oh my god, except the Ghost Pride Morgana, I don't think we see any skin. And the Heartseeker Vayne. Alright, okay. I'm blind. I didn't even see the Heartseeker Vayne. We don't see what Zarkaz is picked, and okay, it is a Void game. So they win the skin battle. So what? Would you really put that against Runefaust Gaming? Nah, I don't think so. Anyway, back to the Maokai versus Renekton debate. So it's hard to say who will out-sustain who and who will go down, because in the end, it also comes down to playstyles. Icon is a very seasoned top laner, and I haven't seen much of Sammy's Maokai, but then again, it is Maokai, a fairly low floor for picking up on a champion, so you could probably still manage to stay in lane, but whether you can end up killing Renekton, it'll come down to see how he actually plays the lane out. So whenever I give these theoretical stats, guys, always remember that the end result will never be the same. It comes down to champion playstyles. It still comes down to the players more than the champion themselves. You can always look at a champion and say, oh wow, he can do this, he can do that, but you never know. It varies from player to player whether he would choose to. In the jungle, we do see the Jarvan the Fourth versus the Warwick. Now, this is obviously Jarvan the Fourth will have the pressure in the early game because he already gets his severe knock-up in the form of his EQ. So while he can lay down pressure on his own, Warwick slowly and steadily, Warwick will have to lay back a little and farm. And that could pretty much explain why the mid lane pick is an Orianna in this regard. Because Warwick is a jungler that needs to gain a few levels and gain a little bit of an advantage. So that's how that lane would go. And as for the mid lane, which is my favorite lane, we have Orianna versus Lissandra. Now, this lane, it's possible that this lane can be passive. It's not highly impossible. It's probably even optimal to play the mid lane passive. And yeah, I'm really curious to see how the Orianna versus Lissandra lane would go, because both of them have capabilities of going passively and going aggressively. So level 1, we do see 4 members of OG going right down, and we do see a ward being put by Rune Faust. I do not believe that OG have spotted that, so they do not quite know. It appears that they are going for a late invade with Distinct standing in that one lone brush, and now they have been spotted, it would seem, and now they've all been spotted out. So OG have no idea what Rune Faust's positioning is, while, okay, now they do. Now they kind of do. Now they have, 3 people and 4 people, and the team fight ensures. Maokai goes in, picks Twisted Advance first. I'm not quite sure what that Vayne was doing there, going severely out of position, but it does not appear to, it does not look like there have been any casualties for now. The flash was burnt from Sammy, so he did make a bit of a mistake picking Twisted Advance first, because his team never won, his team never followed, and now while you still couldn't call that lane, that play that he could not follow, and another binding hits, and could this be it? Could they actually go in? No. Jinx did start Chompers and did not start Rockets, remember? So they could not find their lockdown, and OG just gave up on the invade, it would seem. So that was actually well fought. It was a good hold by Rune Faust at the expense of Sammy's own flash. And no, while there were no summoners burnt on OG side besides Morgana's own ignite, which may not be severely impactful, which may not provide as big of an impact as people predict it to be. And Zark is actually opting to start red buff without needing a leash. So I guess this means that OG fully intend to mask their junglers' movements and start. Although it should be pretty obvious with the early wards that he may have started red, because it would have been too late for him to go to blue at this time. So we'll see. We're yet to see if Steam_GG makes use of that. And as we see in the bot lane, we do see the aggression immediately kicking in. The Frost Brutality lane is known to be notoriously aggressive, and the top lane we actually see Icon falling a little low against Sammy, and Sammy doing really, really well to hold his own there as well. And the binding does hit on Vayne, and look at this tussle going on in the top lane. Renekton, while he can fall low, he does have a little bit of sustain through his Q, through his empowered Fury Q and whatnot. So if Sammy managed to play around Fury timings well enough, he could even end up killing Icon in the early game and pretty much proceeding on to have a good time in lane. If he managed to protect his lead, that is, which it's not too hard, I guess. Again, comes down to player. And meanwhile, bot lane taking a big beating, which pretty much showcasing how the main jungle is. And oh my god, Zarkus, what are you doing? Why are you counter jungling so early? And Steam.gg did flash, but while that wasn't needed, he did believe that he could land the auto attacks needed. He obviously may not have calculated that Jojo would either have his own flash or would have the ability to EQ over. So possible inexperience against Jarvan junglers, I don't know. It has to be seen. And oh my god, well baited by the flash from Brutality. Well baited, well heal baited by Brutality. In fact, it would have been a kill if he hadn't flashed, if he hadn't healed, I'm sure, but she actually got away. I guess she just wouldn't be able to stay cool. That's the pressure. That's the mental pressure you see, guys, whenever you face the Frost Brutality lane. They will always be aggressive. They will not give you any corners if you so much as step 2 steps out of where you're supposed to be. If you so much as take one or two steps away from where you would usually be as an AD carry and support, they will make use of it and they will completely turn it against you. In the mid lane, we do see Orianna Operandus being pushed in, and both mid lane is kind of out of mana, so they're not quite sure what to do. And we do see Steam.gg trying to go for a gank at the bottom, but the enemy bot lane, but OG's bot lane did back at the appropriate time and timing it in such a way that they will still be able to access their lane when they get back. And in the mid lane, in the top lane, we do see Icon has actually managed to get himself back on full health. I'm not sure if he backed. Yes, he did back actually, as opposed to Sammy. Okay, both top laners did back, and now they're back on level ground. When it actually looked like Sammy had gotten Icon to like ridiculously low, and look at that turnaround damage from Icon on that Renekton. That's what, when he reaches 50 Fury, all of his skills become highly empowered, so they deal more damage in their own right. So you really don't want to go against a Renekton when he has that up, or even if you did, you only want to try it out. And this is going to be a bot lane gank, and they did get the snare on to Warwick, but the zap misses. If it did hit, it would have been secured the first blood slightly earlier. But oh my god, Vayne is completely not, well heel baited by Frost. He completely caught the Vayne's attention for a split second, just enough for Brutality to just go right back and get her, and get right back at her. So, and that's good. Look at the menace. Look at the menace Frost is being right now. Even after you think you're safe enough to go and back, he will not let you. He knows that you're still within his range to harass and stop your recall. And installing this, he has completely got them under the tower, and now they could very well be in greater danger. And throughout this time, they'll also pretty much be living in fear of Jarvan the Fourth, because it's not uncommon to see Jarvans who'll just come in and lane gank in this exact particular time. And look at them, they're still pressuring, they're still doing a lot. And the Condemn is spell shielded, and that's it. You give a red buff to a Jinx, and that's the magic that she'll do, and this will very well be a double kill. And we see a dive happening at the top lane, and it's a clean kill. So, to sum it up, OG's bot lane, the jungler came, they tried to go for a kill on Brutality, but they switched focus, and these guys were quick to respond by killing the Warwick really fast. Then Frost went on to stop Janna's recall, and from then on hell broke loose when they decided to stay and do a lot. So then this pretty much gives them rights to go and take blue buff, since Steam.gg was dead the whole time, could not access his jungle again. And oh my god, Icon is seriously picking a fight with Sammy, and he is trying to show no signs of aggression for now. He is trying to pelt Renekton as much as he can with the Qs and the saplings and whatnot, but it does not seem that he's going to do much. And Jojo, fairly low, but they always somehow find a way to go down, and he falls low and absolutely doesn't get executed, even though it did not have smite up. So bot lane right now looks a bit worrying, because you wouldn't want to face a 3-kill Jinx, and you wouldn't want to mess with the Jinx with 3 kills, especially 8 minutes into the game, which is still very, very early, and you're barely getting around to finishing your first item at that time. And that is a turret conceded, and he's just taking it straight up, and a very good spell shield completely blocks the Vayne Condemn, and Orianna saving the Jinx. And why didn't you put it up for Orianna? And that is kind of negated, but okay, fine. So what happened was the Orianna could not bring the ball right up next to Jinx on that first, the moment they got close, and it pretty much allowed Nicholas kind of saw the opportunity, and he put like as many autos as he could right into the Orianna to get a low, and that kind of ended up working against her, because she died before she could charge ult, and if you notice, her ult is still up. So, and we see another all-in happening at the top lane. Warwick still not level 6, so he's unable to make a proper impact, and Icon is taking this like a man and fighting them. This is going to be the counter gank from Jarvan and a pointless cataclysm, but he's still doing really, really well. And we see Frost going in for that 1v1 onto the Vayne. Will this work against him though? And yes, it will. 2 straight hits, 3 straight hits. The true damage takes care of the rest. And we do see Distinct making a roam up top to secure the turret kill. Does not seem like they'll be doing much after this. Ordinarily, any team would try to sneak a dragon up in this, but because he managed to see the counter gank coming from Steam.gg, it appears that they're completely willing to give up the dragon. Not that they are going for it anyway. So kind of bit of a decisive playstyle that OG is going for in this game, and oh my god, these two are caught. Are they really caught, or is Icon caught? No, absolutely not. Steam.gg is extremely squishy with just a Ranger Trailblazer. He does appear to be going for a Devourer, and that will be the ultimate onto Orianna. And soon enough into a killing here. And Sammy, oh Sammy, poor Sammy, he is absolutely getting decimated. So right now, Runefaust Gaming is in a world of hurt because of how well invaded OG are into their jungle, and you immediately see wards being plopped right down. And could this be another engage onto the Vayne? No, it isn't. And actually, I can not quite able to secure the kill on Vayne, and this will be a kill for her, but I think she'll die in return. That's it. That'll be the snare, and that'll be the kill going to the Jarvan. So, right now, in this situation, what Steam.gg is doing is really not the right thing to do completely, especially because when you've been invaded upon, you can't really go for the Devourer enchantment. But he still appears to be going for it. I'm not quite sure why that's the case. But he needs to buy more wards. Right now, the first things that Runefaust Gaming needs to attempt to go for has to be warding and gaining vision. Right now, they've been pushed. They're pretty much backed up against the wall, and the only way out is to find one single spot, one single catch, anything to kind of go forward. And they'll be able to, and they could probably claw their way back very slowly at this game. But it appears that OG are really not giving them any quarter to do that. They're literally trying to give them zero breathing space, except for that one pink ward that is right here. So right now they're too afraid to even contest for that pink ward that they just put. So basically OG are playing the perfect pressure game after having gotten a few early kills, and oh my god, Jana, that was too reckless right now. That was way too reckless to just go right in after you just saw them around there. It was actually safer to ward a little earlier. But yeah, again, the pressure game that OG is playing is so much that it's just way too much. And Orianna and Warwick, I think Icon can easily 1v3 this, given how fed he is, but not a 1v4. If the Vayne goes up there in time, they could very well take him down, and this could be one of their first steps of signs of fighting back, it would seem, but no, they don't even bother going for it. And Lissandra does manage it. All she's been doing is shoving, really. She's just been appropriately shoving lane at the right times and just going towards other lanes to remotely support them in either sieging or to just pretty much set up more catches. And let us just take this moment to have a quick look at the builds that both teams are going. On this thing, on OG side, we do see the 5-1-2 Renekton, and wait, in the meantime, we do see another slight tussle going on for them just trading blows, but Renekton obviously coming out on top, meaning a 5-1 with a fully found with a full Ravenous Hydra. You're really not going to have a good time, especially even after you got the Merc thread, so you've already started building resists, and oh my god, Orianna is completely caught off right now. Well, nothing much you can say about that. That was just a perfect catch that you do when you don't really observe your opponent, I guess. So right now, they're just walking into the traps that have been cleverly set by OG, and really, right now, if this continues on, OG can finish the match in a heartbeat, which is what they appear to be going for in seizing the turret so much and laying down the pressure this much. And in the process, they've actually successfully managed to get a dragon as well. So in this thing, and we do see an all-in going onto the Vayne, all-in going on to the Renekton, sorry. But Distinct just so far ahead with that triple Torrens into a Morellonomicon, just completely working out. And a good chance Janna ultimate will push Icon into the tower. And in the meanwhile, we do see an all-in happening from the bot lane, where they just easily, they make really, really quick work out of the Orianna in that bottom lane. So right now, pressure being applied to multiple places by Frost and Brutality in the bot lane, as opposed to Distinct in the top lane. And seriously, they're just perfectly calculating where each and every single person will be up at a time, and they're just playing solely off of experience right now. And that's all you need to do when you're confident enough in your picks and you're confident enough in your way of in your play style in itself, and along with individual skill. And another catch. Oh my god, they are. So in this scenario, ordinarily you just say the match is over, but if you would be one of those, you would be in that, say, that 2 to 3% who would very much not give up and still attempt to do something. You usually start off by getting more sweepers, I'd say. And right now, the fact that even Mayar has not exchanged his trinket for a sweeper shows that I'm not quite sure why they would not go for that, because you really need that when your jungle is watered, when every single lane that you go, when your movements are being read by the enemy so hard, you start by getting those sweeping nexus. Why aren't they going for that? Is the question that would probably be in everyone's heads. And that is a Warwick ultimate on to Jinx, but how well will that go? The Orianna ultimate did not help too much, and everyone just mobs Sammy and immediately goes back to peeling, but they still managed to get the catch on, and Vayne's positioning kind of got them a little further ahead, but this won't be enough, will it? And that is going to be a self-cast ultimate to try and get all three people, and while he is not really going further back, that is all they need. Okay. So they had a fairly good fight and got a few good kills onto Vayne, but when the Lissandra came, they just could not play around her. And right now things are just completely out, because it's very hard to come back when the laners are universally fed. Your AD carry is 7-2. Oh, and your AD carry is the only person who actually has a few kills and is in a healthy position compared to the rest. Your jungler has been shut down, and as well as your mid laner, who is actually having quite a few problems, really. So right now, OG literally sitting in the jungle of Runefaust, and all Runefaust can do is push lanes out and weakly stall for time. But OG, they're gonna make short work and end the game. So mark my words, because when you pressure a team like this, it may or may not, depending on how seasoned the team is, it may or may not break a team even, because you're just being watched. You're nowhere. They're just making sure that nowhere is safe, really. And when things go, oh my god, do they not see that ward? I don't think they do. I don't think that pink ward has spotted their own ward over there. So, wow, that's a very interesting bug. I'm not sure if it's a bug or an intended mechanic, but oh well, okay. So we have all 5 people just moving mid, trying to put not particularly the final nail in the coffin, but the second final nail in the coffin. The final nail in the coffin would actually be the inhibitor, and that is a smooth engage right onto this thing. A 3-man Orianna ult hits, but it actually goes up to no avail, because she does not have the AP to take them on at all. And he was actually left to have, and even looking at the CS differences, 134 to 59, 140 to 45. 151 to 79. The CS differences were just too great, and this is it. Okay, fine, never mind. That was the final nail in the coffin, and that is OG completely decimating a team. Well, I don't know what to say. That OG was just being OG, literally. If any of you who have seen OG previously and how they participate in tournaments and how they take teams on, this is their standard.